Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Following the discovery of a body in Dennery, residents have begun speculating about the cause of death. To be clear, there has been no indication of the young man's demise, but residents are nonetheless sounding a warning about a potential hazard. One resident says snakes are an ever-present danger in the Green Mountain community. The Forestry Department confirms that the East Coast is a known habitat for snakes, but it says there are measures that can be employed by residents to ensure there is peaceful coexistence between man and snake.
Some Dennery residents have dubbed their community of Green Mountain Snakeville. Residents say it is a common occurrence for there to be sightings of snakes, particularly at nights or after prolonged periods of rainfall. One resident of the community, James, says he has had many encounters with snakes near his home.
I've killed snakes in front of my home. In the road to go my home in the night, mostly in the night they travel. I kill in front of my home already. I kill in the road to go my home. My neighbors are all around us kill them also. To tell you the truth, this area is an area where people come and conquer spot to build, but at the same time it's a place that carry boa constrictor, carry snakes also. So people have to be careful with snakes around the place because snake is something that is very worldwide.
St. Lucia has 4 types of snakes. However, the 2 most known are the boa constrictor and the fudilus. The Forestry Department says the East Coast is home to both types of snakes. Senior Wildlife Conservation Officer Pius Haynes explained residents need to be vigilant and ensure that they do all they must to coexist with the various species of snakes.
Ensure that around the surroundings is kept in an orderly manner. It's kept in a way that doesn't encourage the fellas to find a conducive hiding place. For example, persons like to have piles of wood and piles of construction debris, maybe litter or whatever, or just the way that the things are placed. Snakes like those areas, like maybe among blocks, maybe among wooden piles, so that they can seek refuge and hide. So persons need to be aware. So there has need for some level of education and awareness with regards to snakes and their biology, their activity, their behavior, and so on. So therefore, we would like the Dennery folks to engage us.
Haynes explained that members of the community should reach out to the department if there are regular sightings of snakes. He says the fear of snakes in St. Lucia is understandable. However, members of the public should solicit the assistance of the Forestry Department.
There are a number of different measures we can employ to foster coexistence between we humans and the snakes. I mean, whenever persons see snakes, they become afraid and they want to kill. But then persons have to also remember that both the featherness and the boa are endemic snake species to us. And, it would be therefore counterproductive if we just go out trying to exterminate every one of them. That would be counterproductive. So instead, we'd like to work with the communities and see how best, we could help solve or ameliorate the situation.
Residents in the area say they are always on guard to ensure they do not have any deadly encounter with snakes. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
The National Greens Party has endorsed 7 candidates for the upcoming general election. Leader of the party, Andre De Carey, says the party is very confident that its candidates have an opportunity to effect change in St. Lucia. Genevieve Gonzague has more in this report.
St. Lucia's 3rd political party, the National Greens Party, is slowly but surely getting its ducks in a row for the upcoming elections. The party thus far has endorsed 7 candidates out of the 17 constituencies on island. Leader of the NGP, Andre De Carey, says the party intends to endorse a candidate for every constituency.
We intend to contest all 17 seats. What we have done is create a progressive platform with a futuristic agenda. Mr. Aaron Alexander, the deputy leader of the party, he's going up for Castries Central. Mr. Ubadillah Mohammed, he is going up for Castries East. Ms. Daisy Ann Central, she is going for Castries North. Mr. Raphael Cantoni, Castries South. Mr. Avalan Joseph, Ancillary Canaries. Mr. Wendell George, Dennery North. and myself, Rosie Lee.
Dikeri says the candidates and the average man in St. Lucia should be able to relate to each other. He is confident that the NGP will bring about the changes that are very much needed in the political arena in St. Lucia.
We feel very confident that we can make an impression on the political landscape with these particular candidates. I think over the years people have sort of pigeonholed what a politician supposed to be, and we look at the two parties and we think, well, that's what a politician supposed to be, but there's no rules as to what a politician supposed to be. So Green Party is about decentralized government, it's about grassroots democracy, and the people that we have surrounded ourselves with and the people in the gang are real people from grassroots origins. And we believe that most of the people in the country are these kind of people. So the people in the country, the majority of the people in the country, would see themselves in our candidates.
He says the NGP's core principles will be what sets them apart from the two traditional political parties. He has urged the public to be part of the conscious collective that will effect true change. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Endorsed National Greens Party candidate for Castries Central, Aaron Alexander, says he has a solid plan to deliver St. Lucia's youth out of poverty. Alexander contends that the two major political parties have both tried and failed at meeting the needs of the youth. He is promising brighter days ahead under the NGP.
The Castries Central seat has been highly contended throughout St. Lucia's political history. The current representative, Serapha Bobre, is for the United Workers' Party, while the St. Lucia Labour Party is yet to name its candidate. In comes the National Greens Party, who is promising St. Lucia major change, and with Aaron Alexander representing the people of Castries Central, the party says it will succeed. Alexander says that the first step is to have a representative who lives and breathes Castries Central.
Representation of any constituency should come from within. Charity begins at home. I have asked the people of Castries Central to reject any candidate who does not live among them, work among them, eat with them, and basically any candidate that they do not have access to. Whenever they put somebody in office, is like the person lives in Cap Estate, the person live in Miku or Diriso. The person is far removed from the constituency. So, as I said, I have encouraged the people of Castries Central to reject any such candidate. Of course, I am from the constituency, born and raised there, and I believe I could represent my people.
Alexander says his focus for Castries Central will be on youth empowerment, unlike anything that they have previously seen.
The vast majority of them was never born with a gold spoon in their mouth. So we need to ensure that we create opportunities for our youth. We need to ensure that we give our youth even greater incentives to encourage them in business. I believe we need to put programs together that will seek to raise the standard of living for our youth, because as you all know, in this current climate of crime and so on, most of the times our young people are involved. And as the saying goes, an idle hands is the devil's workshop. So we need to find ways of engaging the youth. So that would be a top priority for me for the Castries Central area, to engage the inner city youth, to empower them, give them a bank start, put in place a rescue program for our youth.
He goes on to explain what an NGP government has in store for the youth.
I believe by and large our youth feel a great sense of neglect. They feel that they've been abandoned, and administration after administration, they have not placed enough emphasis on our youth, and they have not invested enough in our youth. So an NGP government, and in particular if I am elected to be the representative for Castries Central, I would seek to empower the youth of Castries Central through a series of programs, such as land ownership for our youth. There are youth that are ready to build their homes, but land is so expensive. And if they have to buy the land, they need to take them more time to build their home. So we have to make land, access to land for our youth, a priority at a very reasonable rate. I mean, you hear the talk all the time where foreigners get land next to nothing, and our youth are craving for that opportunity. Also, youth would like to get into agriculture. You know, an NGP government would promote and will be promoting agriculture as a great means of creating employment for our people, especially our youth.
Alexander says he is disappointed in both political parties and their handling of youth affairs, and hopefully St. Lucians are fed up too. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The founder of the Big Brother program is throwing his hat into the political arena. Wendell George will go up against SLP candidate Sean Edward and UWP's Farah Polius in the Dennery North constituency on a National Greens Party ticket. Originally from Tomaso Dennery, George says the people of that community and by extension St. Lucia deserve better representation.
I observed what happened over the past 10 years since I started voting, and I voted in 2011. That was my first time voting, and I was not quite pleased with the representation from the person that I voted for, and I decided to change that by voting for another individual in the opposite party in 2016, and the same thing happened. He really disappointed us after a year or so into politics. So I decided that enough is enough. Too many wrong decisions are being made. We haven't seen any developments in the Dennery North area, apart from the refurbishment of playing fields and so on and so forth. We need to start talking about the real issues that affect majority of St. Lucians right now.
An issue that is dear to his heart is the well-being of young men in society. It is for this reason that George founded the Big Brother program at the Grand Riviere Secondary School. He believes he can bring real change to Dennery North.
I want to bring back the factories that I remember seeing in the Grand Ravine area that used to produce jams and so on, you know. And I remember as a boy, we used to go to the back of those factories and pick up little bottles of jams that used to be around, you know. So bring those types of development to the country, something that can bring a little income to the pockets of people within the community. You know, at least if I know I'm planting peppers, that I can supply all the peppers to the factory right there within my community, and I don't have to travel all the way to Castries to try and sell some peppers. We need to start thinking of real development that provides income for people.
George is convinced that joining the National Greens Party is the better choice.
If I'm getting involved in politics as a young person, I want to start with a party that is not as corrupt as the ones we call governments right now in St. Lucia. These governments have taken so much from our people. They have given up so much to foreign investors, and our own people here have to suffer and beg to get what is rightfully theirs, basically. So I feel a lot needs to be done for our local businesses, people who are starting very small. What sort of incentives are in place for them? You know, can I walk into a bank and get a loan easily, you know? So those are the issues young people want to hear about. And people want to talk about minimum wage. People want to hear that these things are addressed.
That was NGP candidate for Dennery North, Wendell George. Monday, the 21st of June, the Ministry of Health and Wellness received confirmation of 2 new cases of COVID-19 from a batch of 81 samples. These newly diagnosed individuals were seen at various community respiratory clinics where they were assessed and tested for COVID-19. The contact tracing for these newly diagnosed individuals is underway. Contact tracing is also underway for 5 cases that were confirmed on Sunday. 4 individuals have recovered, bringing the total number of active cases in country to 69. All active cases are currently doing well, and none of them are situated in the intensive care unit. The new positives bring the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date to 5,218. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.